get back in the room at like. So last week was what I would. I don't know how often the damn video feed cut the fuck at. Cut the fuck at. Like I really don't know how often it cut out, but I had, and that's what was important. Like I had fun doing that stream, and I really kind of wish that I had more of a I had a conversation topic this week, but I don't. If I was super clever, or I should say as clever as I think I am, I wouldn't have just called this the stream. But there's two reasons I call this the stream. And that's because when people refer to their streams, it's like they'll just simply say like, yo, check in on the stream. Tell me about the stream. Check out the stream. Look at the stream. Check out the stream. And that's why I called it that. Because I felt it was a really, like, not tongue-in-cheek, but I felt it was a very meta name for it. Like, it is called what it literally is. It's like if a video game was called The Game. Or if a movie was called The Movie. Or a movie, I should say. You want to see a movie? No, I've seen it. No, I mean, do you want to watch a movie? Yeah, I've watched it already. What? You know what I mean? Who's on first? What? Who's on first? No. What's on first? A person. No. What's on first? A player? No, you said who's on first? Yeah, no, what's on first? And then millennials would just get upset that you were turning it into a grammar lesson. Because grammar is for dum-dums and ugly fat people who have nothing else going on in their lives. When you're beautiful and young and handsome and charismatic, you can be ignoramuses. Something crawled in my body today when I was asleep. My lung hurts. I'm gonna say it hurts. Like it was hurting to take a breath in. So DJ spin the sound. Cause ain't no way that you're gonna sit us down. Ow! I'm preparing my drink, sorry. Shaking, not stirred. And in the description it says this may contain creepypastas or horror stories. Because again, I don't have anything planned to talk about. Oh. I'm really unsure. Like I said, I've already I've leveled up quite a bit. I don't know if we can show you. Let's see what level I am. 12. I don't know what level I should. I was gonna power level again to get my fidget up, but I've maxed out.
It's great to see you back, son. I knew you. The monsters have already caught our friends. Tell me what happened. Did you confront their leader?
He was right when you said he came. In fact, he seemed to be waiting for us. A small village surrounded by the innocents we killed. Creature that attacked the village. He was some kind of physical wearing strange armor. Called himself Furious.
Hurts. because they didn't want to pay what they owed. What the fuck is we? I'm back. You just a dirty booty ass little black boy. I did this. I'm gonna say this for a second. I don't know because I don't know how long I'm gonna talk. And when I say I don't know how long I'm going to talk, I mean I genuinely do not know like how long I intend to like actually verbalize, as opposed to just like playing Creepypastas, playing the game. Fuck you, Faye. Like I come to this just yeah, you forget who I is, boy. I'll be up here talking to myself any damn way. Have you not seen my YouTube description? I talks to myself. But no, I've stated in multiple videos that how much I'm a fan of God of War. I mean, how much of a fan of Game Grumps. No one who likes Game Grumps and is also vocal will see this and then say something to them. But I do like them both. I like Dan. Still really not a fan of JonTron. I think JonTron's funny, but more specifically in small doses, because JonTron is just a really destructive dude, and like I'm just not a fan of that type of personality. Like I kind of changed my opinion on Aaron for a minute because of found out that he thinks God of War is a boring game, and ultimately I'm like, all right. And he just thinks the game is boring, and I feel like the millennial in me is like I need him to say he doesn't like that kind of gameplay, because I've seen him actually enjoy games that are a lot less engaging. Not only are they not engaging, but they're genuinely just not really games. They're just like silly little time wasters. And I understand that people take, if there is a way to be good at something, or if there's even like the chance that people will misconstrue the thing as something that they can be good at, a community will grow of people who will try to be good or play it the best or play it the fastest. And I just want to point out that does not prove that something is good because it has a community. It just isn't. But he said what he said, and he liked the game. I was kind of up in the air about it. I was like, that just feels weird. You know, this dude's. His opinion didn't matter. Like, he didn't alter like what I played and how I played it. Because I've seen him play games before that he was just ass at. I mean, he was just doodle juice at imagine like a cup of shit, and like you put water in the cup, and you just leave the cup under a hot towel, in front of a space heater for a week, and then you come back and whatever's left of you pour the liquid out and you strain it, so whatever actual pieces are left, that's not what's in the cup. It's just the juice. That liquid is he is that at games sometimes. Like Mario Power Tennis being one, and if you've seen on this channel, we play it and we're good. Like we can't beat the hardest difficulty because it's just super unfair. But it's not the point. Point is, my dude about 7 years ago, he was on a live stream and he was sketching something. That was the whole point of the stream was to show him pads and let him draw on the screen. And he was talking about, I don't know why he thought it was a good idea to bring this up. Maybe this is who he is and we just can't tell. Maybe this is who he used to be and we just didn't know. But he was telling his girlfriend at the time, well, his now wife, Susie, that he was trying to think of the most racist thing that he's ever said. And he was like, there's gotta be something. And the weird thing is that as he was saying that, he realized, he thought about something that he had said that was super duper offensive. And then his girl, and then Susie chimes in and says, like that one time you dropped that black guy off somewhere. I don't know if she was saying this is what he did, or if she was saying like an example of a thing he did. Drop that black guy off somewhere, and then you had to say nigger like 30 times to get it out of your system. So to explain that in a more clear way, it seems like he gave a black guy a ride somewhere. Maybe a friend, maybe a foe, maybe a guy he didn't know. He gave him a ride somewhere, and then after that was said and done, he just kind of had to say, I'm assuming maybe he didn't say nigger. Maybe he just said nigga over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Because as I was talking to Nightfire about it last night, again, I'm not gonna do the side quest. I don't care to. Nope, not going that way. You know, he kind of came up in the Newgrounds community where a white dude saying nigga part of a joke, like, you know, as part of a comedy bit or as part of like a script was kind of common. Like the word nigga was just like a word that was used because it was funny. And I think like to some people, a white person saying nigga is funnier, but I think those people are just racist. Like I think like if you're a white guy and it's funnier to you that a white dude says nigga, I think you racist. Alright, I don't give a fuck what's your sorry. I don't give a whole fuck what your actual take on that is. Like I don't care what you would like me to believe. I don't care if you're like, no man, I'm not racist. Like for real, I'm not racist. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't. The fact that you think it's funnier because a white dude said nigga, you think that's funnier, I think you're racist. So it's kind of common for him to like be used to saying the word, because even when Game Grumps started, him and John both said the word nigga a lot. Mind you, they never put a hard on it, which matters to some people, don't matter to some others. To me, again, I understand that it doesn't necessarily come from a place of racism. When you go out of your way to be like, what up, nigga? We doing the shit. Everybody in here want to suck my dick or whatever. Like you busting a freestyle rap. But most of the time, whenever Aaron said nigga, it was because he was rapping. It says a lot more about him as a character, because he feels that the word nigga actually doesn't say more about him. It says more about the state of like hip hop and like people, that a lot of white people might think that the word nigga is just inherent with hip hop. Like it just comes with the territory. Which is not their fault, to be fair. I'll say that. I feel it's not their fault to think that the word nigga comes with rap and hip hop. Like, because it is something that you hear in rap a lot. But you also hear the word bitch, hoe, gat, nine, dick, balls, cum, skeet. I don't think motherfuckers say cum, pussy. You hear those words a lot in rap too, but whatever. Alright. It's not necessarily... I'm not going to damn the man for it, because I've heard him, at the very least, I don't know if he knows better now, but he's smart enough to say that he knows better. And as long as he's willing to acknowledge that it's a bad thing, if he was to ever be caught saying the word nigga in the future, much like PewDiePie, like, I would damn him for it, because he knows better, but he still chose to do it. Even in a moment of anger, that just shows that you use that word a lot, or you still hold it in the back of your head for a specific reason. And I'll eventually stop being poisoned over time. So just the idea of it, man. White folks, don't say nigga. Like, and that seems to come up a lot. Like, there are white people who seriously don't seem to understand. Like, The video, the video in question, it's a YouTube video. It'll like just search Aaron says the N word, or Aaron or Ego Raptor says. Search Ego Raptor says nigga. It'll be like 5/5/2011. That's the date on the video. And as you're watching it, go to the comment section because you're an idiot. Because that's what I did. I went to the comment section, and just know that the majority of people who are Game Grumps fans are racist as fuck. Like, I'd say like 89% of the white people, especially the younger audience that watch Game Grumps, it's not even necessarily the younger audience. It's like, cause I feel like these are like people in their like mid-20s, like, you know, early 20s that comment this shit. Like, the motherfuckers who watch Game Grumps, like, I want Game Grumps to know that y'all are like, right now, I say that it's not necessarily y'all fault. It's not them, because that's just that genuinely can cater accidentally. I'll say will accidentally cater to a certain certain group of people, and I feel like Game Grumps accidentally caters to a very large number of people, a very large number of racists, like that's just my opinion, because that comment section is like, you know, oh, it's so cute, like, really, Susie's so cute, it's not even offensive when she says the word nigger, oh my god, like, no, fuck that bitch, like she did not like think that through, like, at all. Like, when I say she didn't think that through, I mean, when any white person says the word like that, with that clarity and that bravado, they use that word kinda often. And again, I don't fucking care what your opinion on the matter is, because that's always the case. Like, you don't say, like, the word, you know, like the phrase "dirty fucking Jew" doesn't just roll off your tongue unless you say it a lot. I say it a lot, but I've never said it to a Jewish person. Do you think for a minute that would make a Jewish person less upset with me if I called them a dirty, like, if they heard me say "dirty fucking Jew"? No, it wouldn't. They would still be very upset, because it's still very, very rude. But by all means, I wouldn't say that. And God damn it, and what you would call a mixed audience, I would not say that phrasing. It's still rude. There is no like way around that. It's really rude to say "dirty fucking Jew" or "white piece of shit" or "you black bastard" or "you fat son of a fuck." It's like, when you identify a person by what they are, like when you identify what they are and then add a negative connotation behind it or in front of it, like if you link those two things together, dirty Jew, white piece of shit, black bastard, fat bastard, you know, I don't know, I would say like camel jockey doesn't really follow that rule. It's just the fact that you assume that this person rides a camel because they are from the Middle East is what makes it racist and inherently rude. So by all means, sand nigger, like, again, massively rude without the sand part. It's just rude. So yeah, by all means, it is what it is. Stop using the N-word. And white people, oh Lord, white people, just because black people say it does not make it okay in the slightest. Now, I'm sure you don't understand that, but here's what it is. Hear my words. It's the same concept of if your friend calls his girlfriend a bitch playfully. That's his girlfriend. They know each other. They understand each other. He can call her whatever the fuck he wants to as long as she okay with it. But the problem with that is, if you think it's okay to do it, you probably have Asperger's disease and you don't understand social conformity and you don't understand why it's not okay. You don't have to agree that it's not okay. You don't. Like, for the love of Christ, like, I'm dead ass serious. You do not have to agree that it's okay. You don't have to feel like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like, no, you don't. You just need to know what the fucking rules are and then abide by those motherfuckers. abide by the goddamn rules because that's what it is. By all means, it's a lot easier on the internet. People don't know. You assume people don't know who you are. Like I would say, like don't get so goddamn cocksure that motherfuckers don't know who you are on the internet. Because I'm sure there were plenty of people who thought that like they had anonymity on the internet and got found out and things. When I say got found out, I should say they got found, and then things went wrong terribly quickly. So don't just all of a sudden. So it's smart to not assume you don't have anonymity on the internet. Like just don't get it twisted. It's like I understand that they're like, oh, there's like VPNs, I got proxies, I'm good to go. You can't motherfucking stop me, bitch. Like the government don't give a fuck about none of that. They can still find your ass. The United States government is with shits. Know that the United States government, like the United States government is with the shits. They know how to find your ass. Like under every circumstance, they know how to find you. So if you do or say some old fucked up shit, you will be found. I'm just saying, there's ways to find your ass. Don't assume that because you're on the internet, you can be, the next Hitler or whatever the fuck. And because the truth be told, at the end of the day, you kind of probably most likely do not matter. Is the thing. Like, I know that's like not what you believe. It's not what mommy taught you. You're a special little cubicle inside of a world of triangles or whatever the fuck. Like you're not like this extra special 3-dimensional character like in a 2D world. You're not. You're still a nobody on the internet being racist because you think it makes you scary and edgy and cool, and it really doesn't. It makes you cool to racists which don't mean shit. Like you were cool to racists already because they could have assumed you were racist by you doing nothing because they want to think that every white person is racist. You're saying stop being fucking racist. And if you ain't racist, if you're racist, be racist. Just accept whatever comes with it. If, what I'm saying, if you get beat up in public because you said the N-word or you call somebody a racial slur, especially, not necessarily racist, but just intolerable in general. Because if you call somebody a faggot in public and they beat you to within an inch of your life, you had that coming. Like, there will be no, like, will that gay person be right? No, they won't be right. But the outside world will see them as justified because you actively, like, you asked for that ass whooping. Like, regardless of how you want to look at it, you have the ass whooping, boy. You was out there like, fuck it, I'm gonna get my ass whooped today, boy. Hell yeah. So that's what happened. You wanted to be mean to somebody, you got your ass beat. Saying like don't be so goddamn free with the fucking word is all I'm saying. It's like I understand everybody thinks she cute and all this. Hell, I think she look cute too. But I'm also black with some goddamn common sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Cause I thought she was Asian when I first saw her. I thought she was Asian. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't call her some Asian stereotype bullshit. As much as that motherfucker love like the Japanese culture, I bet you he wouldn't go over there to Japan and be like gook 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 gook. I had to get that out of my system. Like, you wouldn't have said that shit. What the fuck? Like, and she wouldn't have done it either, so what make it different? Like, the difference, I mean, that was a rhetorical question. The difference is there's more respect they have more respect for Japanese culture than they do for African American culture, because African Americans are kind of demonized. Well, Japanese people too, but African Americans don't really make shit that they care about. Like, we don't make cartoons and toys and Sailor Moon, so by all means, it's understandable. Like, I get it, and I'm not justifying it, but there's a difference between justifying something and understanding it. I understand it, but I don't care for it. There's a big difference. I can understand why you do shit. That don't mean I gotta be a motherfucking fan of the... It's weird, It's really weird that, like... I guess it's, like, even more so coming from a dude like Aaron, who is... like one of the most effeminate white dudes on the planet, like super like effeminate, like fuck. Like Fifth is effeminate, but Fifth is also kind of like bold with his, he does a good job of being effeminate to a degree. That motherfucker is like, just straight up effeminate. Like it is what it is. I don't mean like I ain't saying he's stereotypically gay. I said effeminate. He's a, he's a big white dude who still likes really girly stuff. That's what I mean by effeminate. You know, what I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that either. I don't give a fuck. Like, you like what the fuck you like. Like, I'm saying if you don't like what he does, by all means, you can like if that part. But the whole like, well, if you don't like it, then don't watch it. That's the point. Like, this because ain't nothing wrong with him being effeminate. There's something wrong with them using the N word like it whitens their teeth. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be that comfortable using the N word. You shouldn't be. Well, here's a better way to phrase that. You shouldn't be that comfortable being offensive. Like, and that's just how I look at it. You shouldn't be that comfortable being offensive. Even the average non-racist white person would say any white person that uses the, like, even if they were like, even if a white person was what was it? Even if you're quoting it, I would say if you're quoting it and it just rolls off the tongue effortlessly, you probably say it way more than a non-racist white person. And that's how, like, anybody from the outside would see that. Is if you use that word, like, oh, nigger? Yeah, I use the word nigger from time to time. Like, if it just comes out of your mouth, like, with, like, reckless abandon. Like, yeah, I would say that you probably use that word a lot. Like, more so than you probably want people to be aware of. Well, non-racist people, because, again, y'all clearly have a bunch of racist fucking fans. I ain't one of them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you talking to somebody who was, like, kind of, like, thrown off by you by, just because you said you ain't like out of war. I was like, what the fuck, boy? I was like, well, you don't like out of war, boy. You gonna talk to you about some shit. I was like, I just find it really funny that, he was down talking, like, the fun factor of God of War while playing Guts and Glory, and I genuinely find that funny. Because that game is terrible. Like, that is a game that you play when you have fuck all to do. Like, that's what that game is. But they're playing it because they enjoy it. But you don't enjoy God of War. That's weird to me. He went down. It's weird, yeah, it's weird to me. I ain't gonna pretend like I ain't saying he can't like the shit. That's all well and good. But like, there's more gameplay aspects to God of War than he knows about because he only got so far and then he quit because he didn't really want to play it to begin with. I feel like that you need to live with a project before you can label what Tech said. You need to live with a project before you can critically acclaim any fucking thing. Like, that's how I get down. It's like, you need to live with something before you can decide. I mean, this is also coming from somebody who feels like God of War might not be God fucking damn it. This might not be it might not be the greatest game in the last 10 years. Like, that's saying a lot, my brother. Like, in my original opinion, this is a lot. The best game in the last 10 years? Golly, the problem is, I don't have enough money to buy enough health items. Like, cause them big money bags on me, fuck. Like, look how much money I got. I ain't got no goddamn money. Ain't no money. It's funny, I did say this would probably be more productive. And in a sense, it will be. I can get further. And, like, I guess I'm at a place now where I probably should, like, be grinding a little. I could probably come here and grind now. But I feel like I should be able to get through this. Because ultimately, what I need... Yeah. So I had to use that before I could already, whatever. It just is what it is, man. White folks, stop saying nigger. Specifically, stop saying nigger. And if you are around if you have a black friend who is okay with you saying the N-word, just know that you're okay saying it around him. Don't assume that because one black person gives you a pass to use a word that you ain't supposed to use. And yeah, I said you ain't supposed to use it because it's detrimental to your health. It's just like if a person walked up on a cop and called him a fucking pig. Like, you know, you can't harass a police officer. You can't. Even if you feel like you should be able to, that's not something you can do. When people say you can't do it, like, because I know people are stupid, so let me explain something. When somebody says you can't do this, what they mean is you cannot do it without, infringing on your freedoms. That's what they mean by you can't. Like, do you have the ability to? Yes. But any not dumb motherfucker would understand that you can do it. You have the physical ability. They're simply saying that you don't have the you cannot do a certain thing without infringing upon your rights to either not get beat up or not be insulted in your on your own. So because like if you go out in a group of white boys, if a black dude go out into a group of white boys and just call them a bunch of crackers, if he gets beat up, that's on him for the most part. He did that. Like, he should have known better. But yes, he's physically capable of doing it because he can speak the language and he can use his mouth. So we're not saying that he can't do it. We're just saying that it's really stupid on his behalf for him to do it. So that's what that means. Because I know a lot of motherfuckers like to get caught up on semantics, and like it's easy to get caught up on semantics, and it makes, because like people who do that, you kind of want to start the argument. That's really what it comes down to. And if you like that, that's fine. But in a certain setting, when the conversation isn't like people bullshitting, it's probably for the best that you don't do that, because then it just makes you look like a moron. And yeah, sure, maybe you don't mind looking like an idiot, but it's a good chance that they won't talk to you or respect you after that, because they're gonna think you're an idiot, and what they think is really what will matter to them. Because let's just say you go for a job interview and the employer says that they don't think you're the right person for the job. They don't think that you have the training to do the job, but in reality you totally do have the training. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you actually have it. If they said you don't and they don't think that you should have the job, guess what, hombre? You ain't getting the job. Like, that's really what that comes down to. You ain't getting the motherfucking job. Shut up. Motherfuckers is expensive. Cause I ain't had full health in hell love. 34 minutes is just talking about racism and how people are stupid. And I'm not calling white people stupid, although a lot of them are. But the problem with that is so are a lot of black people. Black people are really stupid. They do not understand that saying the N-word will cause other races to also want to say it. And with that, they incite a riot that they in themselves feel like they have to fight. They should just wise up and not be so goddamn dumb. Fucking niggers. It really benefits you to not have a voice that's easily duplicated. I can make you say whatever the fuck I want, because your speech pattern is so fucking weird and very specific. If I'm not mistaken, I know what's over there. Like, that's the challenge room for this place, and I have no intention of doing that. All right, we done talking? Yeah, we're done talking. Listen to this creepypasta. It's called I took a factory job, part 1. It's by Nature's Temper. Oh yay! Nature's Temper got his channel back for the most part. I don't know if it was real. I just know that he said stuff was happening.
Give him a cold look to my dad. thought I'd show more initiative.
Start over, first off. Thank you.
I'm not sure what's going on here. But Mr. Outlaw,
That's the outlaw.
I never should have dropped out of college. The difference between Zuckerberg and I is astronomical, but I was delusional enough to think otherwise. I wasn't completely hopeless, though. I had no idea of what I wanted to become. But that's irrelevant here. This is the story about how I ended up at the factory. I was living by myself in San Antonio at the time. My folks were kind enough to give me a bit of moving out cash, and I was also working part-time during school. That's how I'd been sustaining myself. But as much as I loved them, there was no way in hell that I was moving back in.
This could be loud.
That just wasn't.
And I apologize beforehand.
After taking up a few temporary stints around the city, the bills started piling up. In addition to that, I had also been fired from my part-time job. But that peanuts there. I started looking everywhere, trying to secure another steady source of income. But that turned out to be quite the process. As the bills started stacking, so did my rejection emails. At first, I was being selective, trying to land something that was considerably higher than minimum wage. That was just wishful thinking. In the end, I decided to settle for a $9 an hour gig at a local restaurant. But then I found something better. A lot better. It was a singular flyer taped to the side of a bus stop shelter. I looked it over and it was put into a state of absolute
Which most people would just call it a bus stop.
We're looking for some hard-working individuals to help out in our new factory. Starting rates are $21 an hour. Please email or give us a call if you think you're up to the task. No previous warehouse experience required. That last one got me. No fucking experience needed. Now, if I was smarter, then I could have seen where this was going. If something's too good to be true, you know the rest. But I suppose that desperate times don't only yield desperate measures, they also make you disregard the concept of reality. I decided to give them a call later that day. I thought I'd show more initiative than sending an email. I don't know. After a few rings, a younger sounding woman picked up the phone. Hello, this is the Dover's Company. Marie speaking. How may I help you today?
The
tried to do a
damage
quick
that did is
recollection in my head.
ridiculous.
Had I ever heard about a Dover's Company? I hadn't. But it's not like I'd know about every company in Texas, so this wasn't an immediate cause for concern. The phone call went surprisingly well. A bit too well, in retrospect. But hey, desperate times. Things were starting to look up. That morning I drove out to the factory address. It was kind of on the outskirts of town, but that wasn't the biggest problem. It was only a 25-minute drive, and there would be little traffic on the way there. I suppose that you could call the place medium-sized. I mean, I haven't seen too many factories in real life, so it's hard to make an apt comparison. It was located on the side of a narrow road, right next to two large cornfields. I parked in the lot adjoining to the road, which was about 3/4 full. I got out of my car, straightened my tie, and slicked back my hair one more time before walking in. The lady had told me to go to the manager's office, which was apparently located to the left of the entrance as soon as I walked in. I found it easily enough. The door was closed, so I knocked. I knocked. I must have stood there for about 5 minutes, but nobody answered. At first, that is. Assuming that the guy was simply blamed, I took a seat on the chair directly parallel to the door. However, I was surprised when I started hearing movement coming from inside. It sounded like shuffling of feet, along with multiple hushed voices conversing. Eventually, the door opened up, and I was met with a tall, bulky man dressed less casually than me. He shook my hand and kindly introduced himself as Winston. When I walked into his office, I'd realized it was only the two of us in there. I could have sworn that I heard somebody else, but maybe not. I contemplated asking about it for the briefest moment, but I decided there was no benefit to doing so. We sat down and I began asking me some questions. Most of them were regarding my physical strength and endurance. I was in pretty good shape myself. and that was evident from my not-so-subtle wardrobe choices. So those were no problem. In fact, everything seemed fine about the whole process. No red flags just yet, aside from the bizarre delay in time that it took him to open the door for me. I was supposed to come in at 7 AM the very next day. Early start, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers.
Damn it.
It was a generic place, with assembly line production and heavy machinery sprawled across the wide concrete floors. I was given a rundown of exactly what I'd be doing and how to do it. The factory's production was mostly focused on vehicle accessories, like trailer hitches. However, my job was even easier than I initially thought it was going to be. Since I had a forklift license, all that I had to do was transport materials from one end of the factory to the other. It was hardly strenuous, and for the first few days, I'd estimate that I was only actually spending about 2.5 hours driving back and forth. The other 5.5 simply comprised of waiting around for somebody else to finish sealing the shipping boxes. I actually managed to get a hefty amount of reading in, which was great. But I don't want to hear about all this. To summarize, the job was a cakewalk for the first few weeks. The only peculiar thing that I'd really noticed was the fact that a lot of other workers sparsely ever spoke to me or even each other. My interactions were limited mostly to 2 other guys that had been hired, Chad and Sergio. They were chill enough, and our conversations were about as normal as you could expect for 3 dudes in their early 20s working at a factory. It was during the 3rd week where the first interesting occurrences began to manifest. I was doing my usual rounds when I noticed one of the assembly line workers sitting absolutely still. Now, I expected them to take breaks. They were human, after all. But this woman simply wasn't moving. I observed her apparent detachment as vehicle lighting fixtures slowly moved past her. The bizarre part was that her posture remained impeccable. I slowly drifted towards her, trying to get a glimpse of what she might be looking at. As I made my way past her, it looked to me as if she was simply staring at a spot on the wall parallel to her. I took a quick glance over, but I couldn't seem to locate anything worth staring at. I mean, it was just a wall. After a few moments of contemplation, I came to the conclusion to leave. I mean, we all zone out sometimes, don't we? If that doesn't sound particularly strange to you, I can guarantee you that this encounter was only scratching the surface. After that, a few days had gone by in which nothing noteworthy had occurred. But then I saw him for the first time. An individual which I can only describe as the Suit. I was taking one of my breaks when he appeared at the top of the stairs connecting to the next floor. Now, I was instructed to never go up there. Winston had told me that there would be no situation where I'd ever need to go up there, so I had no idea what was actually above us. He was a tall, somewhat wiry man, wearing a 3-piece dark blue suit. Maybe it was just light black. To be honest, I couldn't tell for sure.
Not really.
On the surface, this would have been a nothing
You can
situation.
over-detail
He
sometimes.
was just probably the supervisor or something. But what kind of supervisor wears a face mask? I mean, the guy was wearing a plain black face mask with what looked like black goggles on top. Black gloves as well. From the bits of exposed skin that I saw, it was evident that he was pale. Extremely pale.
He's
I
white.
looked up at him in moderate bewilderment, trying to gauge who he was supposed to be. Nearly had a heart attack when Winston grabbed my shoulder, pulling my gaze away from the suit. Hey, Jeff, you keeping busy? Yeah. I'm just waiting for the next set of boxes to transport. Great. You know, in the meantime, you could probably help them pack it all in. Keeps everything moving nice and steady. Sure. He gave me a smile before inching past me and walking off. I looked back up, only to see the Suit walking back through wherever he came from. I also saw Winston making a beeline towards the stairs, climbing them with a haste that I'd never seen him operate at before. In fact, his movements almost looked angry. He went the same way that the Suit did, and I never saw him again that day. Obviously, some questions were raised here, like who the hell was that guy, and Why did Winston seem so intent on me not seeing him? But I wasn't going to ask. For some reason, that didn't seem like such a great idea. Be going on. I wasn't about to get involved with it. As the day was ending, I was prepared to clock out. One of the janitors nudged me as I walked past him. "Excuse me?" I muttered out in surprise. Keeping his voice extremely low, he whispered to me, "Did he look at you?" I was lost for a second, but only a second. It was pretty obvious who he was talking about. "No, I don't think so." The janitor just nodded at this. "Okay, just don't look at him." I tried asking him some more about this, but he simply told me that he was busy and couldn't talk. Okay, what the hell was going on here? Those were the first few weeks. I still don't know what the woman was staring at or who this suit is, but hopefully I'll never find out. I've read stories like this, and they never end well.
Some people like their stories slow and methodical.
Alright, you know how I said that I was going to lay low?
Yep.
Well, nothing ever goes perfectly.
Nothing.
Since one of the other forklift drivers had called in sick to a night shift, I had to fill in his place. The shift itself was from midnight to 8 a.m. Extremely obscure hours, but it also paid 25% more, so I didn't complain. In addition to that, there were considerably less workers, which consequently meant less work I actually had to do. I was probably on the forklift for 10 minutes per hour. The day was so slow that Winston decided to have me do inventory at the back room. Easy enough. I was just supposed to count bumpers. But the room itself, that was something to be desired. The floors were cracked and dusty, while the only sources of illumination came from the few incandescent bulbs dangling precariously above me. It is what it is, I thought. Before I started counting, I decided to take a look around the place. There was a singular locked door to one side, as well as a window on the other. The room that the window led to was presumably pitch black, as I could see nothing through it. I didn't realize how bizarre this really was until about 10 minutes in. There was a window, but no door leading into the room. Not unless the door on the other side was connected. But then that would have to be one large room. I went back over to the window and tried looking through it again, mostly out of sheer curiosity. It was so dark that it honestly could have been completely covered and I wouldn't have noticed. After about 2 minutes of intense staring, a knock from behind it made me jump. At first, I thought it come from the entrance, but it was wide open, and nobody was there. There was only one other door in the room. 3 more heavy, rhythmic knocks rang through, confirming that it was indeed coming from the locked one. At that moment, I didn't know what to do, so I froze. 3 more knocks. But there was another sound as well, almost like tapping on glass. I turned around, catching what I could only assume was a hand pressed on the window for a split second. I just made up the inventory numbers and left the room after that. I'm not going to quit just yet. The chances of a better opportunity popping up somewhere else is slim. I'll just tough it out. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not in any immediate danger. Well, it looks as if this factory has been open
That
for
wasn't the
years.
objective.
It can't be that bad if people keep working here, right? Right? But if anything else happens,
No,
I guess I'll take note of that. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If I could take a moment of your time, I would like to mention something. My niece is raising money for the Little Princess Trust. This charity provides real hair wigs for free to children who have sadly lost all their hair due to cancer treatments. But that's not it. The most incredible thing is she's donating her actual hair that she's been growing for years. So, if you're interested
She
in
was
raising money
growing
for this
it,
charity
not
through
for
my
this
niece,
purpose.
please follow the link in
But
the
she was
description.
growing it.
Alright, I'll see you all later.
This game can suck a fat cock. It can eat big dick in the mouth hole. It can eat big dick in the mouth. I still like Game Grumps, man. I'm just saying. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. Here's part 2.
I suppose that this will serve as a follow-up to my original post. I realised some stuff. Things that weren't immediately apparent, but after a bit of introspection, seemed quite disconcerting. Winston is weird. Not personality-wise, though. I don't know what to call it. In a metaphysical sense, maybe? I mean, he's always there when I am. I don't have constant hours either. They range from 6 to 10 hours per day, but usually aren't in the same window of time. What I mean by that is sometimes I could be working 9 till 5, other days could see me go from 7 till 2, others from 11 till 7. You see what I mean? The thing is, Winston's always there, both when I clock in and out. Unless he inexplicably has the same hours as me, not likely for a man in his position, this is not normal. But there could be an explanation for this. He's a workaholic. Those exist, don't they? But I just don't see anybody working that much. I met up with Sergio at a bar after work one day. We've gotten quite close, by the way. And we started discussing this. Now, I just finished an 11 to 8 shift. Sergio had essentially just woken up, after finishing a shift from 1 to 10 AM. Could you guess what he told me? Winston was there the whole time. He was also there the whole time for me.
He just wasn't going to jump in. He actively jumped into the hole on purpose.
19 hours. Don't tell me anybody works 19 hours a day. What was weird was that after all this time, we weren't exactly sure what Winston even did there. I mean, he didn't spend much time in his office. He'd either be walking around the ground floor, going up to the second, or simply disappearing completely somewhere in the back, only to come back a few hours later. Now, I've never worked a managerial position, so I can't say for sure what he should have been doing. But it sure as hell must involve phone calls or paperwork or something. But he never seems to be doing that. Our conversation moved on to other things that we found questionable about unexpected situations. I told him about the inventory room and the man in the suit. However, those paled in comparison to what he told me. He was having a smoke by his car one day when he saw a woman coming out of the factory, seemingly bawling her eyes out. He called out to her, but she just ignored him and continued running away, right into the adjacent cornfield. He decided to go after her. After a few minutes of trying to track her through the crops, he stumbled into a clearing. There was a singular run-down shack in the middle. He could still hear the woman crying. With his guard up all the way, he walks in there. He finds the woman crouched in the corner, seemingly looking for something on the ground. He calls out to her. "Excuse me, ma'am, you alright?" She turns around, face absolutely drenched in tears. "Who are you? Just go away." A few seconds later, she pushes down onto a section of the floor, revealing a set of stairs. Before she starts climbing down, she turns around to face him and says, "Don't look at the man in black." And just like that,
it's a good movie though, why not?
she was gone. The floor returned to its original form, and Sergio was left standing there alone, not knowing what to think. He didn't try investigating further. He considered mentioning it to Winston, although that never came to fruition. But here's the really fucked up part. That woman was back at work the next day. Sergio said that they made brief eye contact, but that there was no reciprocation or familiarity in her stare. Again, he thought about talking to her about it, but he didn't. There was another instance where he wanted to talk to Winston about changing one of his shifts. Since Sergio couldn't find him anywhere, he tried his office. He knew that somebody was in there, because he could hear what sounded like a muffled conversation through the door. He furrowed his brow as he told me this part. It was muffled, but a bit too much. Anyhow, he knocked on the door for several minutes, but nobody bothered to answer. In fact, the conversation seemed to be getting louder with every knock. At some point, he simply walked away. He bumped into Winston a few minutes later. He wasn't terribly surprised. I mean, there was a tangible explanation for something like this. Some supervisors from a different branch could have been using his office for some kind of meeting. But that didn't seem to be the case here. Sergio told him that he'd tried knocking, assuming that Winston was there, but the guys inside never answered. He told me that Winston's face instantly morphed into one of horrific anger upon hearing this. "How many did it sound like were in there?" was his immediate response to this. Sergio answered with, "A couple," and Winston took off storming. That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Dude, seriously, stop.
But that wasn't even the worst experience.
The controls of this game are very
That came
questionable.
on one of his night shifts. It was about 3 a.m. and he was getting ready to leave after a strenuous 10 hours. At that point, the place was pretty empty. He started heading out towards his car when he spotted something out of the corner of his eye. It was partially obscured by the cornfield, but it looked like a person. Obviously, the features were pretty much impossible to distinguish from that distance and at that time, but he told me that it almost looked like the person was wearing a mask. They briefly stared at each other, before the figure started fucking running towards him. Sergio freaked out and bolted towards his car. He got in, fumbling around for his keys, before finally managing to stick it in the ignition. But by that time, the person had caught up to him. He said that they launched themselves onto the hood of his car, slightly cracking his windshield. That's when he got a closer look at the guy. Now, he couldn't exactly tell whether or not this guy was wearing a blank mask, or if he had no face. Again, it was dark. He told himself to believe the former. Sergio was in sheer shock, unable to function or even think. The person started banging on his windshield, producing more cracks and also a bit of blood. It was at this point where a group of extremely large men in security gear came out of nowhere specific and yanked the guy off. One of them told Sergio to sit still. They told Sergio that they were the nighttime security for the factory, and that the man who charged him was a mental patient that escaped from a nearby hospital. But there were 2 things wrong with that, he told me. First of all, there is no nighttime security. I've worked these shifts before. You think I would have seen them by now? Second, there is no mental hospital within 500 miles of here. So who the hell was that guy? During his following shift, Winston came up to him, apologized for the incident, and told him that he'd personally pay out of the pocket for his windshield repairs. But he didn't seem to want to answer any more questions about it. All this, just from a few weeks of working here. So why don't you just leave? The shit is beyond fucked, I told him, as we were getting ready to depart.
Really?
He responded by giving me a solemn-sounding chuckle. I think it'll be alright. I mean, it has to be. I've got no other options. Nobody else is gonna hire me after what I've done. In the kindest way possible, I tried asking him what that was. Something bad, was his only reply. Yes, that was a subtle message for me not to press any further with it. It's weird. During the entire time we were sitting at the bar, I could have sworn that somebody was watching us. I couldn't narrow it down to a single person, but the feeling was there nonetheless. That feeling persisted on my walk home, but this time, I could see him. It was a man, hood up and head downwards as he trailed me. I stopped, getting ready to confront him, when he simply brushed by me, and not before slipping a piece of paper into my hand. On it was a phone number and a message. The Dulles Company isn't real. Call me. When I got home, I considered doing so, but I couldn't come to a personal consensus. I mean, what if calling him would only introduce additional problems? I decided to refrain from doing so, for the time being at least. When I clocked into work the next day, I was approached by Winston. He called me into his office, gushed about how good of an employee that I'd been, and offered me a $3 an hour raise. I was incredulous at this. I mean, he'd literally caught me dicking around on multiple occasions. None of this made any sense. But I just thanked him and went along with it. During my break, I decided to send the guy who bumped into me a text. He never responded. After work, I decided to give him a call, but was directed to an automated voice stating that the number was not in service. Things are getting weird here. Trying to find a method to the madness of this place seems like a daunting and admittedly horrifying task. But I'll stick around for now. Maybe look a bit further into this. I mean, hell, maybe the Dulles Company isn't real. But the money sure is. I think I'll talk to Chad next. See what he has to say. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If I could take a moment of your time, I would like to mention something. My niece is raising money for the Little Princess Trust. This charity provides real hair wigs for free to children who have sadly lost all their hair due to cancer treatments. But that's not it. The most incredible thing is she's donating her actual hair.
Okay, I would never listen to these people. I'm gonna play until I beat the boss of this area. So.
Before this video begins, I'd like to thank my subscribers for helping me out with extra voices in this video. If you'd be interested in being in one of my videos, make sure to join our Discord server. You don't have to have any narration experience. I just like working with my subscribers. And with that said, enjoy the video. The emergency alerts on the radio don't make any sense. The storm is getting worse. Do not go outside under any circumstances. If you need assistance, dial 911. I plopped down on the couch with a bottle of wine. We certainly picked the right time for a honeymoon, huh? We're gonna be snowed in for days. I don't mind, Daniel said with a wink. No, seriously. I picked this cabin for the view. Pines for miles, with herds of deer and wild turkey. Now it's just this. I gestured to the window, and it was all white, save for the fuzzy gray outline of a few trees. Come on. It'll be a funny story to tell our... A sharp crack of static on the radio, followed by an announcer's hurried voice.
Because the fucking...
I repeat, close all curtains.
Platforming in this game is terrible.
I shot a glance at Daniel.
Like, genuinely.
If you have any
and it does that. Like, that's clearly on purpose, but it's dumb.
Doors and mail slots. Cover them with a sheet. That's weird. I bet it's because of snow blindness, Daniel said, pouring himself a glass. You know, I don't want anyone looking out their window and getting blinded by the sun reflecting off the snow. He stood up and slowly lowered the blinds until we were left in shadowy darkness. Look at the lights, I said, standing up. Darkness. The power's out, I yelled. No wonder it's so cold in here. And how we're supposed to watch Game of Thrones or charge our phones or... Rebecca, it's okay. Here, sit and drink the rest of your wine. I'm gonna go find some matches. Then I'm gonna chuck that stupid radio out the window. And we're going to sit in front of a roaring fire, okay? Okay, fine. He disappeared into the kitchen. The light through the blinds was fading now, and the room was steadily getting colder. The wooden bed in the corner, that I thought was cute and rustic when we arrived, looked ready to attack us. And the antlers hanging from the walls looked no better than sharpened spikes, ready to impale anyone who dared to walk by. Hurry back, I called, pulling the blanket up to my neck. It's cold without you here. One final warning. The announcer's voice came over the radio, muddied with static. Do not go outside. Do not open the door, no matter what you hear. And don't... Static. I grabbed the radio, shook it, and
Dropping
sighed.
thing.
The reception's gone. Good, he called back. And I think I found some matches. I clicked the dial forward. A cheery voice came on, clear as day. We are handing out free supplies at the edge of the forest on Maple Street. Bottled water, canned food, blankets, and battery packs. Daniel rushed in with the matches, looking confused. Wait, I thought they said... I turned up the volume. Come and get yours as soon as you can. There's a limited supply. I will post an extended update tomorrow or Wednesday. For now, we're okay. I'm trying to conserve my phone's battery. The firelight flickered across the cabin. The shadows jittered and jumped as if they were alive. The chill settled in. I pulled the blanket tightly around me. So, every phone number goes to voicemail, including my mom's, and she always wants to talk to me. I swirled the dregs of wine in my glass, and there's no mention of anything on the news. Where does that leave us? Stranded? Daniel said with a dry laugh. Dead? Daniel! I'm kidding. Here, let me see if I can find anything on Mound Eye. He pulled out his phone, the blue glow contrasted sharply with the fire. Instead of looking on news sites, I'm just going to Google with wild abandon. Let's see. Minnesota radio broadcast. Page loading. Now we're down to 3G. The fire crackled and hissed. Uh-huh, he said, thrusting the phone in my face. I took it and began reading. Queen of the North, 89.
Hey, anybody in Crystal Lake, Minnesota? We just got a really weird radio broadcast. They told us to lock up and shut our blinds, but now other broadcasts are saying to come out and get supplies on Maple Street. Anyone know what this is about?
Crazy cat guy.
The second one's fake. It's been playing on repeat on every local station in the range for the last 6 hours.
Excalibur.
Guys, I did a lot of research. A similar thing happened back in the 70s. You will be okay. Follow the rules. Don't look at them. Don't let them...
I don't know why I put that effect on it, but I felt like I had to.
see you. Even if you're camping in a tent or sleeping in your car, you can't survive.
Shit. Go away. I don't feel like being gang fucked. Thank you.
Something will take. Keep all pets, other animals, even livestock included, inside. Don't put out the garbage. Don't light a fire. They can smell
Don't
it from
fart
miles away.
in an enclosed space. You are.
And I looked at each other, and then at the roaring fire.
Oh, Robert. Oh, Robert. Oh, Robert. Fuck!
Jolted awake. The blanket was tangled around my feet. My
Where
neck
art thou,
and my hands
Robert?
were as cold as ice. The cabin was pitch black now, save for the dying embers in the fireplace. Daniel?
Oh.
Daniel!
Don't want to go this way?
Daniel.
I think I'm gonna go this way.
What?
I gotta pee.
Probably just a branch
So?
or something. Don't
Come
worry
with me. For what? I don't want to pee in the dark.
Thoughts echoed across the cabin, coming from every direction.
How
Because
is
of
me
roof.
being there gonna
Daniel
help you
jumped
not
awake,
be in the dark?
Drew on his glasses and sprung off.
Come on.
Let me
Ow!
fall.
Hurry the fuck up.
Sharp knock at the door.
Hurry the
Answered.
fuck up for Craig Father come out.
Standing between me and the door. Of course I'm not answering.
Hey, open up.
The man's voice.
Not with that attitude, I won't.
The silence of the blizzard called through the door.
Police, open up.
Okay, usually police start with that, so no, you're not a cop. Just a white dude with
Police
an
trap.
authority complex.
It's a trap. I leapt up and chased after them as they slowly walked down the hall, away from the fire, away from warmth. They said don't open the door for any reason, remember? I stood in front of the door, frozen. A shadow fell across the sheet we had pinned to the door. At first glance, it looked like the silhouette of a normal person. a normal policeman.
Define
The more
normal.
I stared at it, the stranger it looked. The neck was just a hair too long, the legs too long, and the head was cocked at an unnatural angle.
It's the police. Open up.
Maybe
right
he
now.
had a crook.
He boomed.
Maybe he was a
I
crook.
have to let him in, Daniel said, staring
got
at
it.
the covered window.
I ain't gotta do shit.
Staring,
Stay black and die.
staring at the corner of the window, where the part of the sheet had come undone. I darted in front of him. Do not open the door, Daniel. It's not the police. It's them. Whatever they are. Rebecca, it's the police. He darted his hand under my arm, past my waist, and yanked the door open. I screamed. For a moment, time froze. The silence of the blizzard filled the cabin. Wayward flakes floated in, winding softly on the wooden floor. Daniel stood still as a statue.
It's all
under
well and
pressure,
good to have such a high
gazing
level of
into the
health,
stone.
but it don't
My
mean
mind
that because I
racing.
can't
You
fucking
let them in. There's
feel
no
it.
coming back from this. No way to save us now. We're gonna die right here before our marriage has even begun.
That's
I
alright.
realized
That's
what
the
I
best way
had
to
to
go.
do. I leapt
We're gonna
up,
die
and
before we
in
get the
one
chance to hate each
violent
other.
motion, smacked the glasses right off of his face. As the glasses fell from his face, the scales fell from his eyes.
Oh
His
god.
placid expression was now cut with terror. He grabbed the edge of the door and with all his might pushed it shut. Or tried to. Shut it! Shut it! I screamed.
Oh, they what to
I
do,
can't.
bitch?
He yelled back.
I'm a grown man.
Pushing back.
I'm a
not
grown
strong
man.
enough. The sound of breaking glass from deep inside the cabin. It's too late. I screamed, tugging at his arm. They're inside. Close your eyes. He yelled. What are you doing?
Not just
Trust me. I heard the door fly open. The sound of rapid, heavy footsteps. Daniel grabbed my wrist and yanked me forward. I felt the wooden bear poke at me, the antlers scrape against me, and various other obstacles bump against me. Some of them felt uncomfortably warm.
I'm gonna check that as a sign.
Then I was yanked out to the cold. The flakes stung my face. My ankles burned.
son of
in
a
the snow.
bitch.
I stumbled through it, crying and terrified, but pushed forward until I felt the familiar leather seats under my hands. I got you, Daniel said, hoisting me into the car. The engine rumbled underneath me. The car jerked forward and then swerved onto the road.
It's right below me.
But when I see them, I don't see any on the road, he said. I opened my eyes. The scene wasn't much different from the dark of my eyelids.
Hey, the combat in this game ain't that good. Like, it's really
Night was
not
pitch black,
good.
only broken by the white
It's
sky,
just playable. There's a
Black
big
trees
ass
break the
difference
road,
between the two.
stretching upwards towards a starless sky, and a myriad of snowflakes glittered in the light, hovering in the branches, and as if miraculously suspended in the air.
So it'll recover
No,
parts of my health now?
not snowflakes. Eyes. Hundreds of eyes. Watching us from the treetops. Shadows dropped from the trees like raindrops falling from the sky. The car lurched forward, flying over the blanket of snow. They're on the road.
We're over
I screamed.
here.
What? Where? Everywhere. Can't you see them? Of course I can't see them. I can barely
Can't
even
you
see where we're going. You took my
see?
glasses, remember? The shadows
Somebody
came
took my
closer.
boy from
Then
me.
the heavens closed. I closed my eyes tightly. We're safe, I thought. We're in the car, protected by layers of glass and steel.
Can't
Even
believe
that
he thought that was a good
McScallopy guy
idea.
on the internet said you're safe in a car. And the car swerved again. But that's if they haven't already seen you. The car swerved violently. My head glanced off the window. The engine roared as Daniel muttered under his breath. Come on, come on. Why are we slowing down? I don't know, Daniel said, his voice starting to quiver. Everything's working fine. I don't think the snow is deep enough to stop us.
It's
The sound
alright.
of wheels spinning against the snow. I think they're stopping us. Even with my eyes closed.
There are games with better art styles. There are games with better art styles. The story is basic. It's playable and not extremely hard to platinum, which is why I'm still playing it. Like, there's only 2 trophies I'd say are a little hard to get, and it's just the this one and the challenge room trophies, where you have to be super super duper high scores on all the challenge rooms. Which is doable. Like, I did it. It's like there's a method to the madness, but ultimately, like, it's not the controls. The controls kind of like are like more of my. I have more of a problem with the controls than anything else. Because the jumping, the combat tells you to use the control stick, but the platforming screens use the D-pad, and he just moves really slow, so it feels like you're doing more work with the D-pad than with just holding the stick. But when you land on a pad, like on a platform, he tends to slip and want to like scooch. It's like he's not one of those characters that turn around. He's one of those characters that jump to the other side when he turns around. So it's like you would slide off a platform without trying to slide off. It's
I can
annoying.
feel them. Their eyes that glittered in the headlights like the freshly fallen snow. Their silhouettes
Oh no, he's
that were
gonna kill
little
me.
more than shadows or wisps of smoke. And after they'd kill us, their new forms.
I'm
shaped
gonna
into
do
eerie,
this.
uncanny
Watch me
versions of
work.
us. They
I'm
ripped the
gonna
glass
load
now.
the game.
How long did we have before they broke through? Just like they did in the cabin. Minutes? Seconds? The wheels stopped spinning. Daniel shifted into park. What are you doing? I have an idea. I opened my eyes, shielding my gaze from the force with my hand. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out a book of matches. He struck the match.
Where
The flame
do I wanna
fizzled and
go?
glowed.
I do wanna go this way, right?
Of
No, I
black
wanna go
smoke
down.
floated towards the ceiling. Wait, isn't that going to attract more of them? Exactly, he whispered. No. My heart began to pound. I trusted him. I let him pull me across the snow, pull me into the car, pull me to my death, trapped here as they closed in. It was...
He's in trouble.
No,
Whoops.
it's no trouble.
Don't know how far I jumped
Small
ahead.
wisps of black smoke.
Kinda, sorta. It's just a shitty story. Here's something the majority of people don't want to hear. Everybody's not a writer. Everybody's not a fucking writer. Like, they're not. And a lot of they actually gonna make you go through this cutscene again because you died, which is extremely unforgiving. Like, I understand, like, you know, I have to like reload my checkpoint, but the fact that I have to like sit through this cutscene again, I don't have to sit through it, but I gotta skip through this cutscene again, like dialogue box by dialogue box, is dumb. Like, games that do this, just know that like no one likes when games do that. Like, you know, parrying actually did a little damage. You know, that would be kind of beneficial to me right about now. Fuck. Here it is. I bought pretzels. And like that, like why? Like, just there are things in the combat that like drive me that aren't fun for me. Like, I can't explain to you like why they thought it was necessary for every time I parry, it sends me flying backwards. Like the whole point of a parry is to get the tactical advantage, and doing that is the exact opposite of that. Of having the tactical advantage that is quite literally me just creating distance. If I wanted to create distance, I'd run away. Like, I'm Like when I said that when I was talking about the platform, that's what I meant. Like he can't jump right after, and he doesn't want to turn around sometimes. Kind of sucks. The whole feet thing. I think he just got feet last week. He's still learning how feet work, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work. He has a 3-hit combo that. Fuck! Gotcha.
What have you done?
Oh, hour 22. Had I died a lot less, I probably would have made this in like an hour and 10, maybe. If not just a straight hour. Somebody took my boy from me. My best friend gone. I'm so all alone. I really miss my homie. Even though I'm good, no, you didn't play. Oh, you did. Oh. Pimp C is on that song. Like, that's weird. Like, cause it's Master P, Pimp C, and Slip the Shocker. To this day, I still think Slip the Shocker is not a good. He's not a good performer. Like listening to Slip the Shocker is unpleasant for me. Oh, I don't really care about the story. Like, you're getting minimal here. I just want to beat the game, get my trophy, then delete this bitch. Oh my gosh! I got a video I gotta record here when I get done with this. For you specifically. Because Fifth got us this new game. That's my baby. He got us this new game, and it's a horror game. And it's not necessarily like, it's different. It's not, when they say horror, like at this point, I feel like in 2018, like when you say a horror game, the majority of people think either it's a shooter or it's a walking simulator. I didn't do that. I just want to point out that I didn't. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta fight it again. Yeah, I do. Just know that there was nothing I could do to stop that. When he dodge rolled out of the way at first, when he did that, I didn't do that. The controller was sitting on the table in front of me. I didn't do that. And I do mean like I didn't do that. I didn't have my hand on the controller. I didn't press anything. Yeah, I actually have to fight it again. I really miss good gameplay. Looking like it's gone away. Hope to see it again someday. Right now, not in a good place. Yes, it's a little. It's not. I don't want to call it a platformer, but it's like a platformer. And like most people think, walking simulator, first-person shooter type affair. Oops. I did not buy 10. What the fuck happened to my pretzel? I bought 10 pretzels. Y'all saw that, right? I bought 10 pretzels. I thought I bought 10 pretzels. There's no way I bought 10 pretzels. Because it was only 800. It was only 800 gold. There's no way I bought 10 pretzels. I'm gonna die. I am gonna die. No, it's not 8-bit at all. It's the best way we can describe it is it looks like, to add to the creepy factor, it looks like a I didn't get hit. I don't give a fuck what that bitch says. I didn't get hit. It looks like a claymation. It doesn't move like claymation, but the texturing of the game looks like claymation. And like it honestly adds to the creepy factor. It's me and Fifth kind of feel like it I'm only gonna to let you know what's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna play like 30. I'm gonna keep. I think I can play. I think I can play the first chapter in less than an hour. Hopefully in 30 minutes, and I'm gonna upload it to Facebook because I've already decided that this year is gonna be what I play for Halloween. And I think that I have like, what, 4 months until Halloween, so that's not saying much. But after getting into it yesterday, I had an idea of what the game would be like, and when I got into it, I was massively wrong. And I was like, okay, that was real interesting. And it got fun. It continued to get interesting. And Fifth said, like, from what he's seen, it's not very long. I can't believe I fucking pulled it off. I was like, I damn near stun locked her. Like, that's been recorded. That shit, I damn near stun locked the character into like submission. The fuck was that? I mean, I felt like I earned it. Like, keep in mind, like, I'm holding the controller this time, and I know the triggers on this controller are a little loose. I need to just take this controller apart and replace my triggers. I just have it. Okay. Now, if he backflips for the fuck of it, I'm gonna be pissed. Alright. Jeez, I didn't have... What's this? Fidget... Oh yeah, the new projectile, yeah. If you upgrade Fidget enough, that is how you get the 1,000 hit combo. Because you can basically tap. Basically, you'll get to a point where you can tap circle, and it'll just continue to do it over and over and over and over and over. I really miss my home. I don't like... I understand that certain games have the whole, like, you have a stamina bar. You can only do this thing so many times. But I think I can beat the first part in, like, 30 minutes. But I'm going to do it in silence, like there's not going to be any audio. It looks like it's in clay. It has that claymation texture. It moves a little slow, but it's really creepy. Like, there's one part in the game for sure, like, when I played it, I kind of regretted having played it. Because, like, the reaction I had to that was genuine. I didn't scream, but I was unsettled to the point where I was like, oh, this is fun. Like... And I mean, the fucked up thing was like nothing was chasing me, but the idea that the thing I saw might be chasing me soon freaked me out, and I started to spaz a little bit, and it made me like run even harder. I don't remember what the point is. Yeah. Okay. What's going on here? Say that right there. Like, hey, he has a tendency. Fuck. Oh, I can skip. That's a dude that needs to damn. I got a ring now? Finally. So yeah, I should. I'm like when I finish this stream, I am indeed. I'm gonna start it then. I'm gonna start playing it. Yeah, when I finish this stream, I'm gonna play through the first chapter again, and hopefully I can keep that under 30 minutes. I doubt I can do it in 15. But given that I've already done it once, it shouldn't be too hard. I don't know. Okay, I'm where I need to be is the problem. I just don't know where that is. I know what that bitch wants. There we go. I really miss my home. Man. It's really good. It's called Little Nightmares. And it reminded us of Limbo. It really did. It reminded us a lot of Limbo. But a little bit better than Limbo, in my opinion. It looks visually better than Limbo. And I think, like, it's one of those games that when you play it, you'll think to yourself, oh, man, I can't believe this game was so short. Oh, that's a weird angle. So it's supposed to be a really sad moment in the game, but I just didn't care. Limbo for me was fun until like about 75% of the way through, maybe 50% of the way through, when it stopped being a horror game and started turning into like a platforming, run for your life physics game, and I was like, it really lost its way. And I am hoping that because this game is a little shorter, it sticks to what it's supposed to be doing. I felt like Layers of Fear did the same thing. It went on so long, it stopped being a horror game, like, and it started to actually be a video game. And for me, specifically me, when a horror game it tries to become a video game, what ends up happening is you get taken out of that mindset, like of the idea that maybe I can, maybe I can't fail. But when it starts doing something, like when you are given a task and there's something you're supposed to do, you know for sure that you can succeed. And so the idea of like whether or not I can fail or can't fail is thrown out of the window, and now you're just focused on figuring out how do I progress as opposed to just experiencing the game itself. And I feel like Resident Evil 4 did that, but Resident Evil 4 did it so well, I genuinely was always afraid to play that game. Every time, because it had long ass segments of non-fighting that were like broken up by like a few enemies here and there, and it would have action segments that were the action segments in Resident Evil 4 were few and far between. There weren't a whole lot, like your boss fights, yeah, but I'm talking about like where there were just like a bunch of enemies and like just a lot of enemies that you had to clear out before you could move forward. There were like, it was kind of like, because that's what like the original Resident Evils did. Like there wasn't always a zombie down every corridor. There wasn't always an enemy, and that's kind of, that keeps you on your toes, but at the same time doesn't get you bogged down in like gameplay, and you can still just kind of fixate on the game itself. You can experience the game, the fear, the terror, because I'd say that's kind of what PT was. If it wasn't for the if PT was 100% a walking simulator without finding little letter scraps, I don't think you had to find the letter scraps to finish that. I don't think. I could be wrong. Fucking no. What was it? I didn't play it. I just watched it several times. Like PT would have been. It was genuinely terrifying because you weren't in control. You weren't in control of shit. Like there were things you could do to avoid getting killed. I don't think anybody can. I don't think you can play the teaser without dying. I think you have to die at some point because it's contextual. Like it's part of like the transition into like how the game would work playing it, which is weird because that wasn't what Silent Hills was gonna be. Like it wasn't gonna be that. So I don't really even know what PT was. A travesty is what it was. Everything that came from PT was a fucking travesty. Like it just really, really was. It was the fact that game won't be a thing. Somebody should be punched in the mush. And with these final words, we commit pops to the last one. Can I skip this? Actually, yeah, you can press circle and skip. Cause I don't really care that the dude died, but there's something in his house that I want. I know what the. Now that I know I can do that. Okay, so. The objective now is to leave out of here. And I guess I can do that. That's great. Thank you. It's warm in here because the AC is off. It's off because it started leaking. There's something up there. Later on, you get an ability that matters. Yeah, it seems like it'll refuel you to a certain degree now. Let's play this next cutscene. So I can leave.
General Gaius, you asked for me? Your report, Commander. What news do you bring? Our scouts believe he is alive, General. But his actions are curious. Curious? How so? He ventured into the Suleiman caverns and saved a village of natives. As I understand it, his actions got the water flowing again. If what you tell me is true, Cassius would never. No. Cassius would never. Keep me informed of the situation.
The art style in this game is ass. It's like I'm not shitting on people who like, cause it just is what it is. It's very not minimal, but it screams I'm not really good at art yet. Like you take it how you want to. It just really comes down to like I'm not really good at art yet. Love told me that I'm needing you. Shut the fuck up. There's a save spot here somewhere, and I want to get it. All right. I can go do something else. Alright, I got other shit I gotta do. So until then, bye. Next week, guys.